It's still kind of funny to me when I do organizing videos because I always saw myself as a messy person. Any organization that I had put in place in our house never lasted, never worked. And so I really had a negative taste, both about organization and, to be honest, the people that organize. I guess I just felt like I'd been burned by them so many times. I know if you go back to some of my older videos, I've said like, I don't organize. I just declutter until there's like so little inventory, you don't even have to worry about organizing it. And so today I am really excited to share the most practical and realistic and effective organizing tips that you've probably heard in a long time. So this video is actually a collaboration with a bunch of organizing experts. So sorry I just said bad things about you. So I'm gonna link to a playlist down below. It'll be available tomorrow if you're watching this on Tuesday, but I'm gonna link to a playlist with a bunch of other videos with top 3 organizing tips. And so it is a lot of professionals that really know what they're talking about. So they're gonna be great tips. And it's part of the Get Organized HQ virtual conference that's coming up here in a few weeks in September. It's completely free. It's totally free, so you can sign up down below. But here's what's kind of cool. So they invited me to be a keynote speaker, so I'm gonna be kicking things off on Monday night. I'm just like, oh my goodness. I'm a keynote speaker at an organizing conference, right? So in all seriousness now, to be in a place where I'm seen as an organized person, someone who can help others declutter and get systems in place, it really does feel like we've come a long way, and I am proud of it, even though it just still seems very strange and odd. So it's super good. I hope you can join us. I'll be around like in the live chat after the session on Monday night on September 13th too. So it'd be super fun if you can be there and join in and we can visit together. Those details will be down below. But let's jump into some really good practical tips. So now I have kind of a 3-step approach to organizing anything in our house. So I definitely want to share that with you. But I asked the gals in my Facebook group, I asked them for some of their best tips, and they were so good. So I want to share those with you first, and then I'll share my 3 steps too. So this is one of my favorites. It's from Connie. She says, create safe places for the things you feel are most important. Otherwise, your brain is constantly worrying about those things. She said, when I finally gave in and created a memory box for each of my kids, sorting went so much faster because instead of sitting there wondering what to do with something, my mind went quickly to, I have a place for that. And I think that's so good. If you have resisted the memory bin, I've said it before, I think it's the most underutilized tool when it comes to simplifying your home. And even last week we got to go to Rachel's house. I showed you, like she came across a bunch of memory stuff when we were going through the piles on her floor, and I was like, do you have memory bins? She's like, I do, they're in our storage room. And so there would be a memory thing. She decided like, do we want to keep it? Is it container worthy? And then her son Grayson would go run it down to the memory bin. And so Connie goes on to say, which I think is helpful too, is that this was true for paperwork too. Once I understood what really needed to be saved for long term, I put those things in a red expanding file that can be easily grabbed in an emergency. Then my brain stopped panicking about paper piles. And so again, when we were going through Rachel's house, she had a spot for paper too. She had a file cabinet, and then we had the memory bin, and then we also created a bin for photos. So we would randomly, when we're going through her piles, and then also what you're gonna see in her desk coming up this week, random photos, right? So we threw the photos in the photo box, and it was waterproof, it was safe, and she didn't have to feel bad. I mean, she had said ultimately she wants to get them into photo albums, right? But in the meantime, she has a safe place for those items. So if you do not have a memory bin, you don't have to take my advice. Take Connie's word for it and get yourself a memory bin along with every other member in your household. Okay, let's talk about the actual containers that we use. Several mention this, including Michaela. She says, use what you have for containers. Decorate with gift wrap or contact paper if you really want to, and then transition to nice containers once you know what works for your location. And I love this. You know, the dollar store has some good bins. They're not great for a lot of spaces, but they're good to just get an idea. And what's funny is I put these ones in the top of our closet a few years ago, and my thought was they're kind of temporary. Let's see if these categories work, if this kind of system works. And I've never went back and replaced them. Now, on the other hand, in our laundry room, I invested in good bins in there because they get used a ton. And so that's also what Kelly Jo has to say. She says, ask yourself, what kind of use are these containers going to get? frequent handling, rarely touched. If it needs to be sturdy, spend the extra money instead of dollar store. Don't overspend, but don't underspend either. Take care of the stuff that you're keeping. And I love this because we'll talk about decluttering in a little bit, but as we've simplified our stuff, we have a lot less to store. And so then I feel that it's okay to spend a little bit extra on some of the containers, like Kelly Jo said, that we use all of the time. And especially for those of us who haven't had a lot of confidence in organizing, we don't want to spend a lot of money right away. So we'll use the cheap containers, get an idea for how it works, and then upgrade them. All right, I know I'm saying like everyone's my favorite, this is so good, but this I really love too. Tiffany says, I read something just yesterday that struck me. It said, being organized to this person meant having immediate access to everything I need. That's bold and big and hard to get to, but I keep thinking about it. I think it'll help me make some of those harder decisions like where to store certain things or keeping more than I need, which makes it harder to access the things I actually need immediately. I love this. Being organized meant having immediate access to everything I need. This really makes me think about our closets and our clothes. You know, when you open your dresser drawer and it's like kind of too full and you kind of have to dig through to see the stuff that you actually use. How much easier is it once we declutter and simplify and can really just get to the things we use day in and day out? I love this. I think this is so good. Okay, let's talk about a container for homeless items because this might be controversial, but I think it's so good. Helen says, have a home for items. And I think we've all heard this before, right? A place for everything and everything in its place. And so Helen says, I feel the disorganization starts when an item doesn't have a home. Even if the home is going to be a container of homeless items. Once the container becomes too full, then it's time to go through and make homes for items or declutter. I think this is so good. And this is kind of where the idea of my time will tell basket came for, is recognizing that there's always random like paper stuff. And so instead of shuffling it around and moving it around from space to space and trying to figure out where we would file or put it, let's just make a bin for the random stuff. We don't put to-do stuff in there, but just the truly random, I don't know. Am I gonna use that coupon? Am I gonna order something from that catalog? I really don't know. And actually, Deborah went on to reiterate the same thing. She said, I have to have a things to keep, but I don't know where yet container. That's like a lot of words to put on a label, right? Not big, not to be used in place of carrying something to its actual home, but for the, I don't know where I would look for this things. And again, I think that's so wise. Like, let's just give it a home, right? Instead of racking our mind and driving ourselves crazy trying to figure out where this thing should go. And this is true wisdom from Patricia. Some things to remember too. Most jobs don't take as long as you think it will. I put off certain things for a long time and dread them, but when I finally do it, it never takes as long as I thought. Isn't that so good? It's so true, isn't it? So jump in, even if you're just gonna work on it for a few minutes, you'll be so glad that you did. Helen says, have an awesome playlist. Oh yeah, don't underestimate the power of some upbeat and motivational music either. Louise says, Atomic Habits, The Power of 5 Minutes. You could listen to that book or listen to like a podcast on YouTube while you're going. I find that book really inspirational as well. Tracy says, it really happens in layers. You have to work out your decluttering muscles until you're strong enough to do it easily. Also, your questions of, do I want to manage this, has absolutely changed my point of view. The does it bring me joy question never worked for me. Do these party supplies bring me joy? Sure. But do I want to manage leftover dollar store party supplies for another 5 years? I think this is good. And you know, I think the does it spark joy question is great, but for some of us, there's a lot of things that spark joy. And so to take it another step further to ask ourselves, do I want to continue to manage this? Is this inventory, is it important enough to me to take up my time, my mental energy? Because like Tracy said, some things might spark joy, but we don't wish to spend any more of my energy maintaining them. And then Patricia also added to what Tracy said and said, this is an important point, layers. You may organize only to find you'll let more go and then organize again later, but eventually you'll hit a sweet spot or your clutter threshold. I think that's so good. And having that grace for ourselves to understand that it really doesn't have to be perfect right away. That's easier for some of us to accept than others, but just kind of expecting, yeah, I'm probably gonna make changes or adjustments to this as I go, but that's okay. And so now I want to share with you just my 3 quick steps anytime I go to organize a space in our house. So like I said, of course, step 1 is to declutter. We have to declutter. You've heard it said we can't organize clutter, but truly we can't organize clutter. And most of us have to declutter even more than we think to really get our organizational systems to work and to be something that we can maintain. Number two, I really think you should find out your clutterbug style. I put this off for so long. Everyone had mentioned like, hey, what's your clutterbug? Have you seen Cass from Clutterbug? And I'm like, I don't organize, leave me alone, right? Like I don't wanna hear about your organizing expert in these bug styles. Oh my goodness, if you do not know your clutterbug style, you should find that out because it has made the hugest difference. Both knowing my type, a ladybug, and Tom's, a cricket, we make so much sense now. And now I can explain to him why I organize like I do. Why do I use bins with big broad categories? I'm a ladybug, it's okay, right? And so it has been so helpful. And things I wouldn't have even thought were organizing in the past, like our toy bins or things like that, now I realize like, oh, I was organizing. It was just not the traditional type of what you think of organizing, and that it actually is organizing and it is a style and it is totally okay. And then number three is to use labels. Again, I did not want anything to do with labels in the past because it was basically just marketing the fact that I had failed again. I mean, if I label a shelf that's supposed to be for DVDs and a week later it has Legos on it, I mean, it's just announcing to the world that I failed. And so I had never been able to stick with any kind of organizing, let alone adding labels to things. But what I realize now is once I decluttered, once I knew my organizing style and organized that way, then what putting labels did was it made it so that I didn't have to reorganize again in the future. So basically by putting a label and assigning things a really specific home, the next time that I went to declutter or tidy that space, all I was doing was moving stuff into its home, and it was very clear to see what goes here and what doesn't. And so by labeling, the next time I went through, I didn't have to be like, oh yeah, what was that basket for? What goes in this bin? What goes down here? No, that's where we end up reorganizing again, and we don't want to do that. We might make adjustments, but we don't want to completely start from scratch again. You've seen me using these chalk labels all the time now. I like that you can erase the chalk, they're removable. Like if you want to adjust your system, you can. You're not like totally locked in, so that probably appeals to me a lot. But they work well, they're easy to read, and so I've really liked those. But labeling really is an important part of the organizing process now. I realize no matter what your organizing style is. So that's been really helpful to us. So like I said, I hope you can check out the playlist with the other videos. I'll put my link down below if you want to sign up to join us again for that free conference, the Get Organized HQ virtual online super awesome conference. I don't know. There's over 70 guests. You can watch it in real time or you can go back and watch it again later. But lots of great wisdom, super great advice when it comes to organizing. And if you're able and you can join us on Monday night, that would be really fun too. So that'll be down below, but I hope you have a great day. I would love to know any like decluttering tips or advice that has resonated with you if you want to share that down below. But otherwise, I hope you have a great day. I love you, and I'll see you again soon.